Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is just a little video on how COVID has affected my florist business 2020 to 2021. Now we're coming to like the end of it, where we're sort of coming out the other side of it all. It's just given me enough time to sit and reflect and actually see how the whole thing has affected my business. So prior to COVID, say like March, I was actually at a stall outside a cemetery. That's where I was sort of like every weekend, bank holidays, and then mainly working online. Then I closed for the winter, so I closed in October due to go back in March, but because of COVID, plans changed, and I just decided it would have been better for my business if I just moved everything online anyway. So that's just a little bit of background information about prior COVID anyway, and what I was planning on doing in the run up to the beginning of lockdown anyway. Just to let everyone know how the shift in the world generally has affected small businesses, but I will be specifically talking about my floristry business. So to begin with, it was a very good time for florists, specifically florists who worked from home, who could take advantage of gift giving, because at the beginning of lockdown, if you remember, non-essential businesses were closed. I don't know if you shop for yourselves or whatnot, but to even get into a supermarket there was queues and queues and queues, and then everything that was like non-essential was like locked off, so you wasn't allowed to buy like stationery, any gift giving stuff, so cards, etc., and all that sort of stuff, and flowers was included in that. So it was a good time for us to take advantage of the whole gift giving, because one, florists were still open if they were working from home. They were still open, they were still allowed to work as long as the social distancing rules and guidelines were followed correctly. And secondly, because people weren't physically allowed to go and visit their family members, this was a massive advantage for us as well, because again, we could safely deliver bouquets on behalf of people to family members that they missed. So for argument's sake, it's sort of March, April, more so April, I decided to come up with a bouquet that was called We Will Meet Again. And these were specifically sunflowers, wrapped with some greenery, some solly, wrapped in some brown paper, giving it like a rustic look. And the idea behind these flowers was you send this to your loved one, and because you're sort of sending them a hug, if you like. You're letting them know that you're there, not physically, but you're there for them, you love them, and yeah, it was just a good gesture. I specifically used sunflowers because, a little fun fact that I learned and I absolutely adore, sunflowers move with the way the sun goes, basically. So when the sun goes up, the sunflower's head goes up and it follows it around, because that's how it gets the sunlight. And when it's dark or getting dark, the sunflowers face each other, and it's said that they get energy from each other. And I think they're such a lovely, sunflowers are like one of my favourite flowers because of the meaning and the way that their characteristics, basically. And I informed my customers of this, and they loved it. Everyone loved the idea of the sun, the sunflower following the sun, and then when the sun isn't there, they face each other and they get energy from one another. And it was that idea and that concept that made people want to send these bouquets with the meaning behind it. Sadly, the high death rate meant a huge rise in sympathy tributes at the beginning of lockdown. But towards the middle, when it was announced that sort of weddings were cancelled, funerals were cancelled, they dropped again. But at the beginning, when people didn't really know what was happening, everyone sort of thought it was only a short period of time that this would be happening for. I don't think anyone expected it to go on for as long as it's gone on. Business was booming for me at the beginning of lockdown, the first lockdown anyway. Furlough meant that retired florists decided to start doing floristry again, and it meant that hobbyists also decided to open small businesses, or not open their small businesses. I don't really know what people were doing, but I saw a lot of it on sort of like Facebook Marketplace and all of this stuff, and I just avoided anything like that because it just was a little bit upsetting that, and I appreciate it, people just wanted something to do and people needed some extra money, but for the florists who have worked very hard and got a reputation, if you like, in the local areas, and then just amateurs coming along and sort of selling whatever at a cheaper price. So there was a little bit of a struggle between competition, because locally there were loads of new florists, and because there were so many new florists, the demand for the flower at the wholesalers increased massively. And I believe in retaliation to this, the prices also went up the way as you expect it to. But yeah, that is something else that I believe affected the pricing. Due to the closure of imports as well, I don't know if you remember, but there was sort of like a 2-week gap where no flour was being shipped from Holland, nothing at all, and everyone was in like panic mode, no one knew what to do. Thankfully, we've got the British growers who were still able to contribute flour, they were still able to do deliveries, they were still selling to wholesalers, so we had that to fall back on, but they don't grow enough to supply the demand. British growers, there's very few compared to what we get from Holland, but genuinely speaking, I don't think anyone was prepared for the hit of COVID. No one knew what was going on. We didn't know where we stood. It was a very, very strange time. But with all of this coming to an end now, again, it's still a strange time. It's still such a strange time. Things are going to change forever now. I don't think anything will ever go back to being how it was before. I do believe, though, that this whole lockdown period has raised an awareness for giving flowers and gifting flowers that there wasn't before. Most of my customers that I've gained through lockdown have always said that they can notice and see the difference in the quality of flower from supermarkets to florists. But I think because it was available, supermarket flowers were always available to people, and they are a lot cheaper, they're a lot more affordable. I just think people went for the cheaper option, not knowing or ever witnessing the difference between supermarket and florist flower. For argument's sake, many customers who have bought from me and sent to their loved ones have then seen the quality of it, and they're now using me and they're recommending me. So it has raised an awareness that I really feel was needed, and we have benefited from it. But coming to the end of it now, some people also think that, and I can see this perspective too, some people are now saying that because high streets are now opening, people will have money to spend on other luxury items. No one's really been shopping. I haven't bought new clothes or new shoes or anything in a year. So now people have got this freedom, they've got variety. There will be tons and tons of gifts available in shops, supermarkets, just normal retailers. I know most sort of clothing shops now, I don't want to mention any names, but most clothing shops have expanded and gone into like the home section, and their home sections are amazing, but that then takes away sort of artificial flowers and artificial plants and all of the accessories that florists sell. So there is going to be a massive shift, and I don't know how it's going to affect people. I don't know how it's going to affect small businesses, specifically florists, but this is just a little bit of an insight of how it's affected me, my business, and how I think things are going to be in the future. Obviously I'm optimistic about it. I really believe that people have seen and I've witnessed it myself, shopping local and supporting small local businesses, and it's been amazing. It's been such an amazing time, and everyone's got to know smaller businesses, and we've all learnt from one another, and I do genuinely believe that it will be something that carries on into 2021 and for the forever sort of thing. I really hope that that is the case. But we all know that we love high street shops. We all love high street shops, and that is just how things are, and that's how they've always been, and I think that's something that we can never not do. I don't think it's in us to not shop. So yeah, this is just how I think that things will go in the future. So I hope you like this video. Let me know how you guys have been affected, and let me know if you've got any questions, and my next video will be closely linked to this, about going back to normal, basically normal business after lockdown, returning to normal, returning to work, and again, just some things that I predict being part of many groups on Facebook and asking many florist questions. This is just something that I've gathered from research and would love to share with you. So let me know what you think of this video, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.